Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt, you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never alone, ever. And I'm pretty excited to introduce you to my guest today. Her name is Tracy Eleftheriadis. Boom. I think I got it. Tracy will correct me if I didn't. I think I got it. Or Tracy L is how I know her. She used to be a teacher and needed to make a long commute to work and back and forth and work and home. She realized that this long commute was causing her to not take care of herself and developed anxiety, chronic pain, isolating herself. It's not good. It's not great. So she first tried doctors, medical route, to help her with a magic pill to feel better, which we all know that doesn't usually last long. If it does work, it doesn't work for long. It's not a sustainable. It's basically a Band-Aid on a symptom. So she tried that. It didn't really work too tremendously well. So through research, breath work, and finding multiple ways to be more kind to herself, she started to see a shift, which is good. Tracy now has neuroscience-backed strategies that she teaches to online entrepreneurs and professionals to build habits, powerful habits, new habits, overcoming obstacles, to achieve their most ambitious goals, which I love. That's amazing. That's what we're here for. That's what entrepreneurs want. Through her company, SerendipityTrekker Limited, not LLC, Limited. Sorry. Tracy provides transformative one-on-one coaching and dynamic group programs. Let's bring her on, shall we? Let's see what this girl's all about. Wait. There we go. Now I can bring her on. There we go. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us. Did I get the name right?
You did a really great job. It's Eleftheriadis, and it is Greek. And I'm super excited to be here, Jeff. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm excited to have you here. And by the way, for those of you who are watching and following along with what I'm doing and other shows that I'm going to be on Tracy's show here a little bit later. I'm not sure when it'll broadcast. I'm sure we'll figure that out, but I will let you know when it broadcasts and you can check that out because it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. So I have a couple questions that I want to ask you that I ask one of them every time. Everybody that's on the show, I ask this question. And so I want to see what your answer is. Okay. In the midst of the hardest parts of dealing with an invisible condition, how do you still find hope on those hard days?
That's a really great question. Finding hope in those situations, I think a lot of that came from just my belief in a higher power, and also knowing that I would be able to heal. I remember at one point walking down the hallways at the high school I taught at and just knowing that if I just use that mantra, like, I believe that was bringing me strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I mean, that's a big step. Belief is huge. So
yeah,
love it. There's no wrong answer. I always love hearing the answer. So it's great. In what you do now with your coaching and everything, like how is there anybody that pops into your head that's like, ooh, that testimonial is pretty awesome. I should tell people about this. Anybody that pops in your head real quick?
Yeah, I was able, one woman in particular, in working with her in my health coaching, and just helping her be able to wake up in the morning and not feel instantly unease, like nervous, where she knew that from practicing the breath work that I gave her and also through the emotional freedom technique tapping, that
Nice.
she actually felt like getting out of bed in the morning.
Awesome. Yeah, that's huge. I mean, even a small shift is amazing, right? When you're working with people to see that small shift. So yeah. By the way, if anybody, for those of you that are watching, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on whichever platform. Nope, we're gonna do that one. That one's got the. There we go. Now we can see them. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, super easy to comment. So if you have questions, if you're like, yes, that's me, I want to ask Tracy a question, or I have a comment, just stick it in the chat and we'll get to it, and she can get back to you, and we'll go from there. So thank you for being here, everybody, and let's get going here. What man? So you had a career in teaching first, and then over time, I mean, with the commute and the stress and all the things, found yourself isolating. So maybe take us back to that time and share kind of what was daily life like in that state. What was it like back then?
Oh, that's a really good question. I just feel like a lot of people don't understand the life of a teacher.
Yeah.
And then when you throw the commute piece in there as well, it can get a little bit more uncomfortable. But I think it all comes back to mindset. Everything does.
Yeah.
But I would, like my typical day, I would get up in the morning around 5 o'clock, which isn't that early for a lot of entrepreneurs. I know a lot of people that wake up earlier than that, but I had to be in my classroom by about 6:45 and be on and ready to deal with the students. And I loved it. Like, I poured my heart into my job every day. I really liked being a teacher and being with the kids.
But I mean, that makes a difference. Yeah. The best teachers do. So yeah.
But it just felt like kind of like Groundhog Day, where every day was the same. And it was always like I was hurrying so I could get to school to be with the students, so I could hurry up and drive home and go to the supermarket. And for many of you that may live in a metro area, this is the nature of the beast. We just do that. I just finally decided that with that hour to 90 minutes every day, that I could be doing something different.
Okay. So as opposed to staring at the steering wheel, getting mad at traffic, letting your mind wander, get that thing where what is it? When you get behind the wheel and then you drive somewhere and you blink and you go, how did I get here? I don't even remember the drive, that kind of thing that happens to everybody. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, kind of like that. But ultimately it's just, I think when we get to a point where we're receiving the message that we need to change, that's when everything starts happening for us. And in looking back at those situations, I know that everything was happening for me, and it was just pushing me to change. I actually ended up behind a truck at one point, and this is in the Denver area. And I was amazed at their license plate, because on their license plate, it said change, CHANGE. And I was like, what message is being sent to me through this truck? And so ultimately I did change schools, but I realized pretty quickly that it wasn't going to change my commute. It wasn't going to change how I felt about teaching. And I just decided to change the trajectory of my life. I had seen an ad for coaching, and I ultimately did enroll in the Health Coach Institute, and did that while I was still finishing up the last couple years of teaching. And I also then decided to do a yoga teacher training program as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I mean, I think a lot of our viewers could relate to the search for the magic pill, right? For what you're dealing with, right? Like you were dealing with this like anxiety and all this stuff that started welling up in you during these commutes, and nobody wants to take the long road to fix it, right? Everybody wants that magic pill, just let me just get fixed. For younger viewers that you might not bring it that, but for anybody over 40, probably you
Right.
understand that.
Yeah, I dream of Jeannie. Yeah.
Yeah, I dream of Jeannie. So yeah, so what was it like going from doctor to doctor? And it's like, obviously medication wasn't the answer, right? So what was that like?
It was really interesting because I would go to the doctor. My insurance was really pretty decent then.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have a lot of out of pocket, and I would show up, present as a healthy young woman who went to yoga 4 times a week. I would run, and they would do blood work on me. The blood work would come back and they would be like, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Everything, all of your levels are within range. And they would say then, but there's nothing wrong with you, but here, take these pills. And if
wait a minute. They would tell you there's nothing wrong with you, and then they would hand you pills.
Yeah, basically.
For what?
Yeah, well, antidepressants and
come on.
Any of the nervous system medications that are out there.
Wow.
And I do feel like, and I have taken an antidepressant before, and I don't scoff at them because everything that's out there helps us to kind of surface as well. But when we're talking about our nervous system, if we don't do the work with it, the medication isn't going to help as much.
True. Yeah. Yeah, no, and I'm not scoffing at medication. Some people, you know what, if medication gets you over that hump or gets you past that, whatever, I mean, I don't think anybody should be on any medication for their whole life. I mean, that can be almost more damaging than it's worth. But, and I know that's even a controversial statement because there's some conditions out there that people have been on medications for decades. But medication in my mind is a temporary thing to bridge you to something that's going to actually help you,
Absolutely.
So,
we have those things for a reason.
Oh, sure.
But just getting to a point where somebody can be like, I think this would help you. But sometimes when you go to doctors and they don't really know what's wrong with you, they don't believe you.
Right.
And that is also heartbreaking. Yes. I remember one doctor I went to after seeing 3 or 4 in a row, and I went in and she came into the exam room, and I just started crying. Yeah. And it's like you get to a point where they don't get it. They think that they know that if they give you some medication for your stomach or for allergies or whatever it is, or come to find out it's not that. It was just a dysregulated nervous system.
Yeah. And there's probably a medication they would give you for that too, but that's yeah. I can relate. I've been to, there was one neurologist I went to, and she talked to me for 10 minutes, and because of some side effects I had from a recent brain surgery at the time. And she said, well, okay, here, take this antipsychotic medication. I said, well, wait, what? Right. And I took it for about 2 weeks because I was just desperate to get rid of the symptoms I was experiencing, and I didn't know any better. And I said, well, okay, let's try it. It was not great. And I got rid of that. And then I went to another neurologist. I said, well, I'm not seeing her again. Went to another neurologist, and he actually went through we saw each other for months and months. And he actually couldn't figure out what was going on. He couldn't help me, but he had the wherewithal and the compassion to tell me that he couldn't help me anymore and that I needed to move on and find something else. He's like, I can't just keep taking your money. I don't know what's going on. And that's a big deal for a doctor to say.
Right.
So yeah. So it's, I've had good experiences and bad experiences too. It's just part of the game, right?
Well, I think it's all part of healing. And
right.
Just in knowing your story, Jeff, where just not giving up and just continuing to move to a place of actual healing is so important for us.
Yeah. Not quitting is I had multiple times I could have just given up and just lived on the couch, just give me a medication and I'll just live on the couch forever, Well,
but I really think that like with the advent of this idea of our brains being able to change, this idea of neuroplasticity, like if you look at even 7 years ago, that was not the norm. People thought that if you had a brain injury, for example, or something was going on with you, like fibromyalgia or something like that, you're going to live with that condition forever.
Yep. Not true. No, it doesn't have to be true.
That's very true.
Yeah. So, and I tell you what, we talk about this all the time on this show, and my co-host for season 4, McCall LeBaron, she and probably into season 5 and beyond. I don't know. I love having her as a co-host. She talks about that kind of stuff all the time, and that it is not a life sentence, with that kind of stuff, with any of it. Fibromyalgia is just a really good example. It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, I tell you what, we are at a good spot to take a break. So I think let's go to a commercial. And then after the commercial, we're going to talk more about a little more about your story. Show us, maybe we can talk about, or maybe you can show us an example of some of the stuff you use to help people, like maybe tapping, or like that was one of the things we talked about. So maybe we can do that in the second segment. So stick around, everybody. This is going to be amazing. If you don't know what tapping is, you'll find out. It's going to be good. So everybody stick around. Don't go anywhere. And I'll see you in just a couple minutes.
Hey everybody, Craig Tomanini here, founder and CEO of Ask Craig T, and I wanted to do a quick reminder about our podcast every Friday, 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube and on all of our social media platforms, so be sure you tune in. Don't miss all the valuable information we're going to give you about how to scale your business using technology.
Hey there. Every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
Hey, everybody. We're back. I'm back. We're going to wait. Before we bring Tracy back, I want to talk to you about Invisible Condition University, or ICU for short. I know how it sounds. We did that on purpose. Invisible Condition University is something that I wish I would have had 10 years ago. Honestly, every time I have had surgery in the last 10 years, and I've had 6. I've had 4 brain surgeries and 2 other surgeries since 2014, 13. It's a little longer than 10 years. Anyway, you get the picture. Every time I had surgery, we left the hospital and it's like they forgot our name. Reaching out for help was hard. That's why my wife, Catherine, and I created ICU. We wanted to provide a place where other people like us, maybe like you, could find a community that listens, that cares, that walks with you, no matter what you're going through. And we meet on Zoom twice a month. And during that call, we invite you to just be real, man. We want you to come and know that it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be broadcast anywhere. It's a safe place. We want you to come with your, like, I'm the patient. My wife is the caregiver. She took such good care of me during those years and still does. So bring your caregiver. Bring anybody you want on the call, ask questions, vent frustrations, find information on this call that maybe you're not getting from your medical providers. If you'd like to learn more or receive a free month of the membership, go to myfreegiftfromjeff.com right there and or scan the QR code. And we'd love to have you join us. So, all right, let's bring Tracy back on. There we go. All right, here we go. Let us hit the ground running. And also, I am going to put this back on there. So tell us about this, by the way. If you're seeing this QR code and going, what the heck is SerendipityTrekker? What is this website and what will people find there? Is there a way to people to reach you on there?
Yes, that is my business website. And there's a contact form on there. People can connect with me through Facebook. And ultimately, they can find my free Facebook group. It's called the Alignment Project. And inside there, that's where you're going to be when you come and connect with me next week.
Nice.
And I do the emotional freedom technique in there with a mindset talk.
Okay.
So that people, like, just going back to this idea of how everything is in our heads, where it's not, I'm not saying that like,
no, I know what you mean.
Because it really is.
It really is.
And so once we can actually, that's what I love about what you're doing with this, Jeff, is where you're providing the proof that the people that have been on your show that have healed from whatever their condition was, and most of it is emotionally based or some pattern that we've learned to just really compensate with.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's funny. My new co-host, McCall, and I just recorded a show actually today.
Oh, cool.
We were talking about causes versus symptoms, like actual causes of things versus symptoms, and what is the actual cause and what's the symptom. And sometimes they can look very close.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then beyond that, most importantly, what do you do about it now? What can you do to get rid of those symptoms by treating the root cause? So, which is my favorite part. So,
right.
Treating the symptom is almost useless most of the time. So,
I think a lot of times naming things it doesn't always help the situation. Like
sometimes people say it does because it's a mystery. If it's been a mystery and they haven't been diagnosed for a long time, they've been misdiagnosed, and then they finally get the right diagnosis and go, oh, thank God, that explains so much. But beyond that, like, I agree with you totally. Diagnosis is not that. Is it that important? I don't know.
I guess it depends on the person. All I know is I have seen some of the people that do the emotional freedom technique, for example, where they have had clients of theirs name a pain, like a person's name from the past. And there was one woman who named her pain that she was having in her shoulder the same name as her deceased ex-husband.
Oh, wow.
And once they tapped on Howard and the constant pain he was causing inside of her body, after she named it, so this was a time when it was a good thing, then they were able to clear out the pain with the emotional freedom technique.
Nice. I love that. And speaking of EFT, I just want to preface this by saying, you, at your lowest point, you kind of had a turning point where you're like, okay, that's enough. I'm done. I got to take a different approach. And this was part of that different approach was EFT.
Right.
And so maybe talk just a minute about what EFT is, what tapping means, self-compassion. And then maybe we can walk through a few minutes of it, like 5 or 10 minutes of just maybe 5 minutes of doing some tapping, just to show people what the heck it means, what it looks like.
All right. That sounds wonderful. I actually found tapping myself. I was on YouTube and I was looking for just some relief from the anxiety that I was feeling. Yeah. And the reason why I still use it in my business today is because it is scientifically backed and clinically proven to relieve stress, promote general relaxation, release and transform pain. It can help you sleep better. Nice. Which is so important when you're looking at like just being a good human being.
Right. Yeah. Sleep's kind of a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Sleep is like a third of our life, and we should be sleeping well. It can maximize creativity. It can help you think clearer because it helps you focus after it takes away that stress. But let me tell you about why it works. It works because it helps to decrease the amount of cortisol that you have in your body. And cortisol, for those of you that don't know what cortisol is, it's the hormone that we have in our bodies at its height in the morning when we wake up. So if you wake up in the morning, you feel really nervous. It's because your cortisol levels are there like, wake up, wake up. It's normal to feel like that. But it's not normal to have that high level of cortisol all through the day. And that can be brought on by not sleeping well, eating the wrong foods, not exercising, all of those things. So cortisol levels can be reduced with tapping.
Cool.
And tapping also helps to quiet the amygdala. And the amygdala is this little almond-shaped ancient part of our brain that puts us into fight or flight. I'm sure many of you have heard that term before. And we do need the amygdala. We need to be able to react very quickly when we're put in a situation, if it's life or death, so that it activates our alarm systems in our body. But, you know, today with all of the technology that we're subjected to on our phones and on our computer screens, that causes us to be in fight or flight, and people don't even realize it. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it can. Yeah. Especially what depends on what you're looking at too. If you're,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. That's true.
For sure. But tapping also, I think, well, earlier we were talking about the brain's ability to heal itself, and that's called neuroplasticity.
Yep.
So when we tap, we actually are creating new pathways for our brain to flow the information through, and it just helps us to be able to cope with things better.
Yeah.
So I do have a quick tapping sequence that we can go through.
Awesome.
And this one is around just this topic of how I can do hard things.
Nice. I love that.
Because
I love that. Everybody has to do hard things every once in a while. You may as well be okay with it. Yeah.
Well, and the idea for this came from this idea of just that simple statement, I can do hard things.
Nice.
But there's this idea of having a growth mindset and actually moving through things that are uncomfortable for us is the key to changing everything in your life, changing your health.
Yeah.
For you, Jeff, I'm sure there are many things that you had to do that were hard, that you had to do by yourself too.
Yeah.
But having the ability to tap actually helps us to recognize that it's hard.
And make sure, and it's okay that it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not, that doesn't make it the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Just because hard things are hard doesn't mean they're bad.
Right.
So,
well, yeah. that place where we find discomfort, that's where we actually really can grow.
Right. Exactly. The hard things are what you need to grow. Yeah, you have to. So this will help people get through that. So that's awesome.
Right.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. So for tapping, I'm just going to have you tap where I tap. And it's a very light tap. Okay. And I'm also going to have you repeat after me.
And does it matter where people are sitting, laying, standing?
I would say if you are sitting in your chair,
okay,
just get really comfortable in your chair. And let's make your side body long and bring your shoulders up to your ears and just scrunch them up and roll them around so we can relax a little bit and then roll them back and open. So we're opening up the heart space.
Okay.
Bring your ears over your shoulders. And then just imagine this golden thread coming out of the top of your head. So we're setting ourselves up with this alignment. So we're giving our lungs more space so we can breathe better as well.
Nice.
And then we actually just start tapping on the karate chop point. There are 9 points we'll go through.
Okay. The karate chop point is
just like this one here.
Oh.
Where the meaty point is. So we have that, and we go here, the inside of the eyebrow.
Okay.
And then we tap on the side of the eye. I'm just going to take you through the points really quickly. First.
Okay.
Under the eye.
Okay.
Under the nose. Under the mouth. To our collarbone. We can tap like this, or we can tap with our hands right here just on our collarbone.
Okay.
And then under the arm.
Okay.
And then to the top of the head. Those are all the points I'll bring you through.
Cool.
And it's just a very light tap.
Okay.
But we start with a setup statement. And so it goes like this. If we just tap on our karate chop point here. Even though I feel overwhelmed and unsure.
Even though I feel overwhelmed and unsure.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept and love myself.
Wonderful.
That's cool. Yeah.
Even though I sometimes doubt my abilities.
Even though I sometimes doubt my abilities.
I choose to believe that I can do hard things.
I choose to believe that I can do hard things.
Even though growth can feel uncomfortable.
Even though growth can feel uncomfortable.
I trust myself to figure things out.
I trust myself to figure things out.
And keep moving forward.
And keep moving forward. Yeah.
So while we're doing this, we're still breathing. We're not holding our breath. We're going to go to the eyebrow point.
Okay.
This feels so hard right now.
This feels so hard right now.
Then to the side of the eye. I'm not sure I have what it takes.
I'm not sure I have what it takes.
Under the eye. I feel the fear of failure creeping in.
I feel the fear of failure creeping in.
Dumb fear.
Dumb fear.
Under the nose. What if I'm not good enough?
What if I'm not good enough?
To the chin. What if I can't handle this challenge?
What if I can't handle this challenge?
To the collarbone. I feel the pressure and I want to succeed.
I feel the pressure and I want to succeed.
Under the arm. Part of me wants to avoid this discomfort.
Part of me wants to avoid this discomfort.
And then to the top of the head. But I also know that growth comes from doing hard things.
But I also know that growth comes from doing hard things.
And then we go back to the eyebrow. What if I'm stronger than I think?
What if I'm stronger than I think?
To the side of the eye. What if I'm capable of figuring this out?
What if I am capable of figuring this out?
Under the eye. I've done hard things before.
I've done hard things before.
Under the nose. I don't have to be perfect.
I don't have to be perfect.
I just have to keep going.
I just have to keep going.
To the chin. I'm building resilience with every challenge I face.
I'm building resilience with every challenge I face.
To the collarbone. Every successful person has been where I am now.
Every successful person has been where I am now.
Under the arm. I can trust myself.
I can trust myself
to navigate this.
To navigate this.
To the top of the head. I can do hard things.
I can do hard things.
And I'm stronger than I realize.
And I am stronger than I realize.
So as you slowly stop tapping, just take a deep breath. And you can even put your hands over your heart. And just really tap into the power you just created. And think about how differently you feel after you've gone through that tapping sequence. That's it. It's very simple. It's free. It's quick. It's like down and dirty is what I call it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm sure there's others that you can do that are longer or more focused on certain things or different stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, the real reason why I have you repeat what I'm saying is because our brains are always listening.
Yeah.
And if you're repeating those words of empowerment, then your brain is like, all right, I'm going to do that.
Well, and you hear it where I hear you say it and then I say it. So it's twice, right?
Yeah. It's like double. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when I get to write a script with somebody else using their words, that's when your brain is really like, oh, all right, let's go.
Because it's in their voice. Yeah. That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Oh man. Well, I hope you guys were doing that. Was it who was raise your hand? No, I'm kidding. I can't see you.
Yeah.
But, gotcha. I hope that people watching were doing that because that was really cool. That was cool. If you were driving and you were listening in your car, that would have been weird. Don't do it then. But other than that, that was really cool. Thank you, Tracy. That was
absolutely
great. Man, on that note, I think this is another good time for a break. I feel like I'm going to yawn here. So I got relax. So, all right, everybody, I will see you on the other side of the break. I'm going to take this down. Don't worry. It'll be back for the last segment. So you'll be able to get in touch with Tracy and everybody stick around and we'll be back after this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say something first, but Tracy, we'll be right back with you. Thank you so much. All right. So what I would like to talk to you about, I want to talk about one of our amazing sponsors, and that place is called Dunamis Marriages. Now, Dunamis, I don't know if anybody knows about, I can't remember if it's Greek or Hebrew, but it's a root word for dynamite, and it's pretty cool. Dunamis Marriages. So I have a question. Is your marriage struggling? Or do you feel disconnected from your husband, from your wife? Or is your marriage doing pretty well? Doing pretty good, but you want it to not just be doing pretty well, you want it to be awesome. Okay, there you go. That pretty much encompasses everybody. At Dunamis Marriages, they believe that God designed marriage to be a lifelong, heart-connected journey. And we're here to help you get there. Located in Colorado Springs, Colorado, their faith-based marriage intensives have an 83% success rate. Let's just say that again. 83% success rate. Typical once a week for the rest of your life counseling has about a 10% success rate. She has an 83% success rate. Let's say it again. Led by Dr. Pauline Dillard, who herself brings over 42 years of marital wisdom, have what's called a marriage intensive. Typical marriage counseling is kind of a once a week for an hour type thing that can take years sometimes to get results. The intensive model that Dr. Pauline uses brings couples together for about 2 to 3 hours per session for about 5 or 6 sessions, and you're done. You've got tools that you learn during those sessions on restoring communication, trust, intimacy, all the things. We don't just treat symptoms. We equip you with the tools to build a thriving, Christ-centered marriage. That's what it's about. If you're ready to break free from frustration and rekindle that relationship God's way, act now. Visit dunamosmarriages.com. It's right there. Scan the QR code, because a thriving marriage isn't just possible. It's God's plan. I believe that. So, all right, everybody, scan the QR code. It's going away. There it goes. It's gone. All right, everybody. We will see you after this break and have some more amazing conversation with Tracy right after this.
Tired of losing cell service in dead zones? Concerned about connectivity in emergencies? There is now an answer. Introducing the Love Pod. The world's first affordable encrypted global internet Wi-Fi hotspot connects with multiple service carrier networks and is satellite assisted when no service carrier networks are available. So it works virtually anytime, anywhere. Connect up to 9 devices, like our cell phone, laptop, desktop, TV, security cam, and more. Stream, chat, text, download, and make phone calls, all with no roaming fees. With mesh capability, the Love Pods will grow in strength and speed with each new pod activated to create a private terrestrial-based intranet called Love Global Network. The Love Pods are dual blockchain encrypted with Love's proprietary 2048-bit cube chain encryption, giving you the ultimate protection in data privacy and security against digital attacks and hacks to your devices. You are no longer tracked, and your data is never sold. Get the Love Pod, your private, encrypted, portable global internet Wi-Fi hotspot, and stay safe and stay connected.
Hey everyone, Coach Greg here from Living Empowered TV, where we help women live empowered lives through amazing guests, life hacks, mental, physical, and emotional health. See us on the Achieve Network, 12 o'clock Wednesdays Pacific time on E360 TV. Don't miss out.
All right, welcome back, everybody, and thank you for being here, Tracy. This has been cool. If you missed the last segment, you're going to want to go back and watch and follow along and learn some stuff, because that was really cool. We did some tapping, and if you don't know what that is, you'll just have to go back and watch again so you can check it out, or get in touch with Tracy, which you can do right there. So, let's see here. First of all, is that website, when you go there, what are they going to see there? How do they contact you through there?
The website will tell them a little bit more about me and who I am. You got a big taste of it here, but there's also links on there to contact me and actually to join my free Facebook group if you're on Facebook.
Very cool. Yeah. I mean, most people, shouldn't say most people. I feel like Facebook is like, if you talk to my kids, it's like, that's for old people, Dad. But I like Facebook, so leave me alone. But yeah, that's where we hang out too sometimes. That's one of the places this is being broadcast. I love Facebook.
Right. Sure. I have the free Facebook group, and that's where you'll be in there next week as well.
Yeah.
But I do once a month tapping and mindset work in there with everybody, and would be happy to connect with you in any fashion that you want to connect, for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it when there's multiple ways to connect. So yeah, website, Facebook, all the things. So yeah, so check it out, everybody. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. So one of the biggest struggles, speaking as somebody who's lived with an invisible condition, and probably so many other people that can relate to this, one of the biggest things is for people with those conditions is feeling like they're by themselves, all alone. Nobody else deals what I deal with. What advice do you have for somebody who's feeling stuck in isolation?
I think the best thing that I did for myself was get involved in my yoga community.
Yeah.
There are so many ways to just really tap into the power inside of you, especially in respect to that.
Nice.
Yeah. But staying by yourself definitely isn't the answer, because what happens is we end up feeding our own fears with the voices in our head. And it just helps to be out with people and to be able to talk about it. That, and also working with a coach or a therapist, is super important.
Totally. Oh yeah, that can be huge. That, and you know, whether that, I mean, sometimes I know when I talk about dunamis marriages, I talk about that long-term counseling is sometimes not necessarily as effective, but in some ways that can be helpful. It just depends on what you need the counseling for. Honestly, if it's a long-term thing, sometimes that works for people.
Well, it depends on the techniques they use as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know some amazing counselors that do the long-term thing. Obviously, Pauline does it a little different. So it's, but it's all good. It's, different strokes for different folks, man. If it works for you, keep doing it. So,
right.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so for anybody that might be struggling with like self-compassion, what's like a small, but I know you've got probably some small but powerful mindset shifts type things that could help. Is there something that they could do today?
Well, just really getting outside is huge, and moving your body. There's one of the most famous coaches anywhere, Tony Robbins, says motion changes the emotion, and it's really true. I just think that we get, especially when it's a seemingly physical condition, we almost get frozen. We don't want to move. We're afraid that if we do, that we're going to hurt ourselves. And that isn't the case. So getting out and moving your body, like I was saying, even with some yoga, is just a really great way to get back into it. I have a friend who was in bed for over 2 years, a young man.
Whoa.
And when he finally realized that it was himself that was keeping himself stuck, he was sitting in front of the piano, playing piano again, out in nature. And we have to do that to show our brain that, yes, we can do hard things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. That's awesome. That's a really cool testimonial, man. That's great. Is there anything we got about 2 or 3 minutes left and we're done. What is the last thing what is one more thing that you want to leave our audience with before we go?
I really think that when it comes to our nervous system, just being mindful of everything that you're surrounding yourself with is super important. We talked about sleep already. Making sure that you're eating enough protein every day is one of those things that I talk to my clients about, because so many people get up and they think, well, I'm going to intermittent fast, when they don't really understand what that's doing to their body, because it's not for everybody. Also, then drinking enough water for your nervous system is so important. So eating, drinking, sleeping, exercising, like that movement for your body is just so important. So if you can connect with other people and also make sure that you're having fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big deal. Yeah. Yeah. If you're not having fun doing it, then nobody's going to do it. You don't want to do it if it's not fun.
Well, just being able to give yourself enough time to just throw the ball for the dog, or just go and play somewhere, or go to the trampoline place and just goof around like a kid.
Nice. Go to a park and just swing for a minute, like that's fun. That doesn't take any special abilities. Like trampolines, man. I don't know. Trampolines can be tricky, but if you,
yeah,
but I think they're fun. But swing. I mean, you're sitting down, but it's still fun. Yeah.
I really love that idea.
Yeah.
And just being able to tap into your breath, then making sure you're breathing through your nose is, as Americans, we just put a lot of pressure on ourselves for no good reason.
Sometimes. Yeah. Well, and you're talking about breathing. There's a right way and a not so right way to breathe. So as somebody who's been a singer for a long time, I've been taught from the beginning, from when I was a kid, you fill up your lungs like you fill up a glass of water from the bottom up. Right. If you're breathing and you're seeing this,
right,
that's not going to benefit you as much as if you breathe from your belly. So breathing, just, you don't see my shoulders move at all, but my that's not that's how you're going to get the most out of it. Am I correct? Tell me if I'm crazy. That's
right. I don't think you're crazy at all, Jeff. I just feel like there are so many people who just breathe up here, especially when they get anxious, and we aren't getting the benefits of doing that belly breathing. So a good trick for that is just taking one of your hands and placing it over your lower belly and resting the thumb on your belly button and breathing into your hand.
Nice. That's perfect. Yeah. That tip was for free, everybody. We won't even charge you for that. That was good stuff. Tracy, thank you so much for being here. We're unfortunately, we are out of time. The time flies. It's like the shortest hour of the day. But we are already out of time. But thank you so much for being here. Stick around. I want to chat with you after the show. But thank you so much for being here and for sharing the tapping and the everything that you're doing. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Here we go. That's so cool. See, I'm telling you, I learn something new every day. Here we are. We're already at the end. So now, thank you for watching. If you are watching on on Facebook, YouTube, E360 TV, Apple TV, wherever you're watching, thank you for being here. I'm so thankful that you're here. Like, subscribe, share, all the things. If this is your first episode that you're just now watching, thank you. And thank you to whoever recommended you check us out. Thank you very much. If you've been watching for years, thank you. And I appreciate you. And join us for our next show, which will be on, pardon me. Our next show will be on Tuesday, March 25th. I believe we're already toward the end of March now. Join me on Tuesday, March 25th to hear another amazing story. And till then, have a great day, and we will see you next time.